Good morning and welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Director of Social Media for HAR, and I am joined this morning by HAR's Director of MLS, Shawn Dauphine. Welcome back to the program, Shawn.
Thank you, Christina. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking time out for us because there's always something going on in the world of MLS, always some updates and new things that our members should be aware of. So we appreciate you taking time with us today. If you could, in case members that are tuned in today haven't heard from you before, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do at HAR?
You bet. So I'm the Director of MLS here at HAR and primarily responsible for overseeing the operations of our MLS standard package, which consists of Matrix, Real List, and Super Systems. And so, the goal of the MLS department is to make sure our members have, best-in-class property data, whether that's listings, comps, public records, our proprietary school boundary data, mapping overlays, and MUD information. We've got a quality assurance department headed up by Ian Goebel and Natalia Carrillo, who spend a good deal of time making sure that the data in the MLS is accurate and timely. And they're also there to assist members with any questions about the system.
Great, and I think a few of those people are tuned in today as well, so some of your staff. So thank you for mentioning that, and again, thank you for your time today. Let's jump right into it. Last week, HAR released our most recent market update covering all of the May data. Can you give us just an overview of what we saw in that? I'd love to hear also any areas of concern or also any parts of town that are maybe hotter than others. I know everywhere's hot right now, but.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the Houston area market's been very resilient considering how quickly interest rates went up about this time last year. So it was last fall after interest rates took off that sales volume went down considerably as expected. We're about down 25 to 30% in the fall. Well, we just put out the May release and we're already back to 10% down from last year. And we're comparing to May 2022, which was tied for historically high May, tied with 2021. And 21 and 22 were outlier market years and banner years that are going to be hard to repeat. So the fact that we're only 10% down in terms of single family home sales in May compared to 2022 says a lot about the market. I think, we've got a slide here to show some of our leading indicators that we're looking at. And this slide really shows you the impact of the interest rate. So you can see, comparing this May to last May, we're only down 2.3% in terms of pending listings. And that was right about the time interest rates were starting to affect the market. And you can see the yellow line from 2021 going down about this time. So the fact that we're already, getting close to last year's numbers, again, is a positive indicator. So as we start comparing 2023 to 2022 in the fall, when numbers were going down, you'll probably start seeing, more positive numbers being reported in terms of pendings. We're also seeing another leading indicator is home showings. And you can see right now we're up this year compared to last year in terms of home showings, up 6.2%. And again, this line really shows the effect of interest rates on showings as we started in May and June, really, seeing showings fall off. And so it's good to see this year that looks like showings are holding steady as well as pendings. Our challenge will continue to be inventory. We're off the historic lows we saw during the pandemic, but we still are historically low compared to other years. And we're seeing, fewer new listings come on the market. We're down about 5% from last year in terms of new listings, and a lot of sellers have rate lock because they are in at a low rate now and have a hard time putting the home up for sale, knowing that they have to buy in at a higher rate. So that's a little bit, but it's also keeping pricing, from falling too far. So pricing's basically flat right now, and it's much more sustainable market that we're in today than we were, the last few years during the pandemic and the year after.
Okay. What about the areas of town? What are you seeing as far as, are there any that are kind of trending a little higher, more going on than others?
Yeah, we put out a quarterly, what we call a hotness index, basically, and it shows the percentage increase in sales volume for certain geo market areas. And what we're seeing in the last few quarters has been, more volume in the outlying areas, and specifically the Northwest Harris County, Hockley, the Tomball area, Magnolia. a lot of growth in that area, as well as kind of the Sienna area and some Friendswood and some of the outlying areas. So definitely, there's more new inventory there, so there's a little more availability in those markets, and it's a little bit more affordable than it is inside the loop. So we are definitely seeing increases in volumes there. And I got to mention these stats. These are market-wide stats. They give us a good indicator of what's happening across the entire market, but we know real estate's local, and we always, want to point consumers to their local real estate professional to what's going on in their local market, because some markets and neighborhoods are doing better than others across the area.
Absolutely. We had some feedback when we put out that last, the hottest communities quarterly update that, these are surprising, but I guess what you're saying makes sense. There's more land, more room for development, and lower pricing. So it makes sense that those areas tend to be performing really well.
Yeah, and it's really that index is a measurement of volume increase, not necessarily pricing. So it's just surely the number of sales as a percentage has increased in those markets.
Great. So we want to talk about some recent updates to Matrix and also some things that are coming. One recent update that I know our members were very excited about was the new cooperation agreement with Sabor, with the San Antonio Board of Realtors. Can you tell us about that agreement and how that affects our members?
Yeah, sure. HAR has always had a reputation of cooperating and working with other MLSs across the state. It was several years ago that we invited MLSs across the state to display their listings to consumers on HAR.com. And interestingly, San Antonio was one of the last holdouts to provide their listings to consumers. So we were pleasantly surprised when they approached us to do this data share. It's a full data share, so we're replicating all of their active comps and roster data into Matrix throughout the day on a regular basis, so that our members can use the interface that they're familiar with, Matrix, to search for those listings, and can also do a better CMA now that we've got comp data from San Antonio. So members basically will search just like they do listings in Conroe or Galveston. They will put the city of San Antonio, or they can do a zip code or a map search, and all of the information is there. So we're real excited about that. We hope that can maybe present some more referral opportunities for our members, and also be able to service clients to the degree necessary to do business in those markets. One other thing we did also was a cooperative key share agreement, so that super keys automatically work in San Antonio market. So if you have a client, you're in the area and you're looking, your key will automatically work on those boxes. Obviously, you have to have an appointment just like you would in Houston as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. We get that. I see that question a lot on social media. So that is a wonderful option for our members. Of course, as soon as that announcement was made, I know we got a lot of questions about this. Is there a plan to add additional MLSs around the state of Texas?
We were open to discussions. In fact, we've had a few conversations with Austin and Dallas, and there seems to be some interest from those markets. So we're going to pursue that and see what happens. So yeah, we're definitely open to doing that. And it sounds like I said, there is some interest. So
yeah, well, we will be excited to hear updates about that, because that is a wonderful benefit for our members. I'd love to hear from any members that are tuned in this morning if you've searched for San Antonio listings, or if this has already affected your business in some way. I'd love to hear that. So, Shawn, the last time you were on our show, Showing Smart, which our technology department kind of runs, but I know you had a very strong hand in the implementation and setup of Showing Smart, and the day-to-day does affect your team as well. Showing Smart had just been released the last time you were on this program, but has now been used for quite some time. So can you tell us the current status of Showing Smart, and what kind of feedback do you get from members about it?
Yeah, that platform service is going really well. It's become one of our most popular offerings, to date. So we're doing about 75% of the appointments that are made in our market are going through Showing Smart. So we're real proud of that. We have about 27,000 active listings that are being serviced today through Showing Smart. And members were paying up to $20 a listing for comparable services. So when you look at the savings, you're talking a couple of $1 million a year in savings, directly to our members that are using the Showing Smart service. So we've been getting really good feedback, and I've got to really brag a little bit on our technology department that develop this, led by our Chief Technology Officer, Taki Risby. He worked with members of the HAR Technology Advisory Group to develop this platform. It was, realtors, developed by realtors for realtors. And the fact that we were able to do this in-house, we're able to include it as part of the MLS service offering at no additional cost. So that's been a great asset to HAR.
Absolutely. Going back a little bit to the Sabor, this was answered in the chat, but I want to make sure that we say this out loud as well. There was a question from Joanne Stevens. Are the Sabor members now members of HAR?
No, they're not members. We're just doing a data share. We have access to their data. Okay, so they don't have access to all of the tools and services that HAR members and our subscribers do. They have access to our data. We are providing data into their system. So their MLS subscribers have access to Houston data as well, and they have access to our log boxes. It is a reciprocal agreement, but they're not members of HAR.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And just a comment that came in from Jackie. She just said Austin with 2 exclamation points. So I think we know what Jackie's wanting there.
Austin they have seemed to express the most interest. So we've had a couple of conversations, and their board has met on it, and so we're going to be discussing that further in the coming months.
Great, absolutely, and just some excitement coming in about the Supra working, and they're excited about San Antonio and looking at other MLSs. Just a comment that also came in from Bob Hale. In addition to the great success of Showing Smart, you might mention the popularity of DPR. Do you want to talk a little bit about that down payment resource?
You bet. So we initially put that in the MLS about a year ago so that members could get familiar with that. And for those that don't know, down payment resource is basically a database of down payment assistance programs where a listing may qualify for that program and a client may qualify. And so on every listing, that qualifies for a program, there's an icon that a member can click on and get the available programs. Well, we recently, in the last couple of months, launched DPR on HAR.com consumer site. And as Bob mentioned, we've already had 600,000 clicks into those down payment resource programs by consumers. So it looks like it's going to be a very popular platform and program for us. As affordability becomes an issue and more home buyers are looking for down payment assistance. They've got a lot of first-time home buyers, VAs, first responders, and teachers. And so Taki and his crew did a really good job of the implementation on HAR.com so that a consumer can actually save their criteria and doesn't have to enter that in each time they want to look at a program. So again, that's we're surprised that we or maybe not surprised, but 600,000 times that has been looked at.
Yeah, that's excellent. That is excellent. And hearing that number 600,000 times that has been clicked in just 3 short months. If you were thinking your clients and customers are not looking at these programs, they are based on those clicks. We know. So very good. Thank you for that, and thank you for the reminder, Bob. A question came in from Kimberly Harding. She said, "I have a past client who asked me to list their home in San Antonio. Am I able to put this listing into Sabor?"
Well, yes and no. So you can add the listing to our MLS using the San Antonio address, and it will automatically transfer to Sabor's system so that their clients can see it. So yes, it will be in Sabor. If you're not a member of Sabor, you wouldn't be able to enter it directly into their system. So that's kind of one of the benefits is you don't have to join Sabor to get our listings, for their subscribers to see your listing in their system. Okay. There may be other reasons you want to join Sabor, right? But your listing will automatically flow over to their system.
Excellent. Thank you. So what other updates can we expect in Matrix soon?
Well, I had the opportunity to attend a Matrix user group session recently, and they were demonstrating a lot of the new Matrix features that they're working on. And really, seem to be focused on, responsive design so that Matrix works better on a mobile device, whether it's your phone or a tablet, which also allows, if you're on a desktop and you have a big monitor, it will actually take up the entire screen. If you've ever used Matrix on a big screen, you notice that it only fills up half the screen. So that's one of the things they're really focused on. And one of the things we'll be rolling out this fall is an enhanced search. And so this new search is responsive, and it works, on a mobile. You've got your search criteria to the left. your map up top, and then your search results at the bottom. So it's kind of gives you, all of those elements on one screen without having to click into different tabs like you do today. We're going to keep the original search will be there. We're not taking that away, but we'll be adding this search sometime in the fall.
Okay.
The other thing we're working on is an initiative to encourage members to add floor plans to their listings. So we know the NAR consumer survey showed that floor plans were, after photos and listing details, the most popular thing that consumers wanted. And, our research shows that not many agents are taking advantage of that and putting floor plans out to the public. So our initiative will focus on providing resources to members and photographers that provide these types of services that have the ability to automatically upload these tours to the MLS on behalf of members. And recently, we've entered into a promotional agreement, which you'll be hearing much more about, with a company called Kubicasa. They offer a free floor plan app that you download from the App Store, whether that's Android or iPhone, and it basically allows you to create a floor plan yourself. You basically film the floorboards, you submit the video, and then overnight a PDF is generated for you to be able to upload to your listings. So we're excited about that opportunity, and we'll be hearing more about that in the coming weeks as we release more information on that.
That is very exciting, and it just, the way consumers look at properties is constantly changing, from looking at just a couple photos to videos to 3D to floor plans, just so many different ways that they want to experience the listing. And I think it's wonderful that you and your team and our leadership at HAR are constantly looking at what's next, what's new, and allowing our members to add that into their listings.
Yeah, there's some really cool technology coming out. I mean, these interactive floor plans where you have a floor plan that you can click on a particular room and it'll attach the photos to that particular room. And so there's vendors that are offering those services, and that's the type of technology we're going to be highlighting and making available to members and enabling them to get that content into the MLS.
Excellent. One thing you mentioned, that you were at a conference and they were talking about things that are coming to Matrix, like the expansion of the search and the home screen and making the map a little bigger and things like that. I think that some members don't realize that HAR doesn't own Matrix. Can you talk about that and how maybe there's some things that we can change locally, but some things have to be on the national scale?
Yeah, we do contract with a company called CoreLogic. We're publicly traded. They are privately held at the moment. They've been a vendor, for years in the space, and they're very competent and a good partner for ours. And so we do rely on them for Matrix, our primary MLS system, and then HAR has a long history of developing our own products around the MLS system. So Showing Smart, all the Platinum tools, those are all developed in-house by Taki and in the technology department. So there are areas of expertise where we do rely on vendors. Our public records data set, the Realist platform, that's also a CoreLogic product that we subscribe to. So there are times when we do rely on a vendor, and CoreLogic has been a good partner over the years for us.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Super is another partner that we're not in the business of making lock boxes, and so you have to look outside for those types of services. And Super is definitely a leader in the industry, and happy to be partnering with them.
Okay, very good. Well, the temperatures outside are letting us know that we are in the midst of almost summer now, right? I don't think it's quite summer until, what is it, June 20th, or 21st, but just about in summer. And many kids are, on summer break, but people are looking at new homes, looking at those school boundary lines. And I know that your team does an excellent job of keeping those school boundary lines updated year to year. When can we expect the new boundary lines for the next school year to be available?
Yeah, we're actually scheduled to go next week live with the new boundary set. So, I've got to hand it to Nathan Goebel, who spearheaded this effort years ago when we first started this, and we've now expanded to the entire state of Texas. So we're covering 1,000 school districts, 7,000 school boundaries, and we're researching and making updates annually. So there's several hundred changes each year. We have to wait till the school districts finalize those boundaries, then we put them together and we get them to CoreLogic to implement into the system. And several years ago, we started a project to auto-populate the schools, elementary, middle, and high school, on every listing that's added to the system. Now that's expanded embedded throughout Texas. And to my knowledge, I think we're the only MLS in the country that auto-populates school boundary data. If you were an agent before we implemented this project, you would have noticed that none of the schools were filled out, and so I think agents had some concern with liability and accuracy, and so the fact that we're able to auto-populate those provides a wonderful data set and allows you to be able to actually search for specific schools with confidence.
Excellent. Well, wonderful. And thank you to Nathan and your team for taking on that initiative, because I know it's so valuable to our members. If you have questions for Shawn, now is the time. Please start typing them into the comments. I have a few more questions for him, but please get your questions in and we'll answer as many as we can. So far, Shawn, we've just got best association for sure. Wow, that's amazing. They're loving it. We're lucky to have you at HAR, so they're very excited about what they're hearing. On a not so happy note here, just want to talk about the fraudulent listings that we've been hearing a lot about. Can you tell us about these fraudulent listings initiated by fake sellers, and what do you suggest members do to avoid falling victim to this?
I mean, real estate is a huge target for fraud. I mean, it's a transaction that's, consumers don't enter into very often. There's third parties they're not familiar with, large sums of money changing hands electronically. And so, I mean, we've seen, a number of different fraud schemes, from the fake rental scams, which we still see, where they'll put a rental up on Craigslist on a for sale home at a ridiculous rental price and collect deposits. We saw fraud committed through escrow with title companies and such. And so we eliminated, title companies in the MLS to kind of help reduce that. And now we're seeing what we're calling fake sellers. And basically, somebody usually overseas will pose as a seller that's out of town, that's usually on a vacant lot. And many times the listing agent is unaware that this person is not who they say they are. We're getting, many calls each week from homeowners that say, hey, my home's for sale on HAR, but it's not for sale. And so what's going on? And we reach out to the listing agent and they really have no idea. And it takes them a minute to figure out, okay, this isn't a legitimate seller. I need to pull the listing down. So this is happening, across the country. I was at an NAR event and they were talking about it and how it's happening, in other places. So these fake sellers have gotten very sophisticated. They've got fake IDs, they've got fake notaries, and so I would, if you're not able to meet somebody in person, you don't know that client, you're going to have to do some extra due diligence. Do some Google searches, maybe search in social media profiles, do a background check if you have to. But I would maybe request a video conference with them and see if they'll come on and meet you on a video. A lot of these perpetrators, don't want to be seen, so they won't meet you, in person. So, I mean, definitely, be on guard. I mean, anything that looks like it's fishy, it probably is. I mean, so just, you have to be real careful.
Okay, very good. And we just shared a link to some safety resources with some additional tips in the comments for anyone who wants to look into that further. But thank you for covering that with us, Shawn, because I think it's important for our members to know that your team is doing the best you can with that. But, again, those when you're taking those listings, you need to be cautious and paying attention to what's going on. And I like the idea of requesting a video conference or something like that to get them on camera. Because as you said, likely they won't do that. So, so that's great. Now, Tiffany made a comment. Thank you for listening and adjusting to our needs when it comes to Matrix and the opportunities that we offer our members. How can members submit feedback and suggestions for Matrix?
The easiest way is inside of the Matrix system, there's a little link at the very top right that says feedback. If you click on that link, there you go. It'll give you an opportunity to provide some information and to our department, and we review all of that information and work with our advisory group to enact those requests from members.
Okay, very good. And then another question that we often get is reporting violations. Sometimes we'll see people maybe questioning on social media, where do I report this violation? That's also most easily done in the MLS.
It is. On every listing, there's an exclamation point in the side of the yellow triangle, and you can click on that, and it'll give you a choice of various violations that might exist on that listing, or you can just type in the violation. You can also just send an email to mlsqa@har.com. Some of these violations may be committed, outside of the listing content. So, for example, showing without an appointment, or if it's a clear cooperation violation where the listing's not in the MLS, and they need to report that. So mlsqa@har.com is got a ticketing system that prioritizes those tickets, and we try to respond to them as quickly as we can.
Okay, great. Going back, we had a couple questions that came in. Almas was asking, what was the app that you mentioned for the floor plan?
Yeah, it's a Kubicasa. That's Cubicasa. If you just search Kubicasa on the App Store, you'll find that app. We haven't finalized the agreement yet. The agreement will provide a discount for add-ons. So, like I said, I mentioned, it's a free floor plan creation tool. But if you wanted to, if your house is over 5,000 square feet, there's an add-on charge, and so you'll get a 25% discount on that. Or if you want the gross living area calculated, there's an add-on. If you want to know appliances or which way the door swings, those are the type of add-ons that you would be discounted. But the basic floor plan tool, it is free. And we're right now working through some of the details to make sure they've got our roster on board, and so that our members can take advantage of those discounts.
Great, thank you. We had a couple more questions here. Ted actually just asked, do we have super access in Jefferson County?
No. So, I mean, most MLSs around the country or around the state actually require you to belong to their MLS in order to get access to their boxes. So, we do cooperate with your key. So your key will work in other MLS super systems only if you're a member of those MLSs. Okay? The exception is Galveston and San Antonio now. So with those two systems, you do not need to be a member of those systems. Your key will automatically work. But Jefferson County, my understanding is they're looking at considering merging with Beaumont as well. But the Beaumont Board of Realtors is on a different lockbox system. They do not use Supra, so there is no interoperability between those two.
Okay, thank you for that. Great question that came in from Andrea. Where can we find tips and tricks for using Matrix?
Well, there's a lot of help inside of Matrix itself. So on the top right, there's kind of a help box, and there's tools and videos there. But I mean, Rita Blevins, who heads up our training and member profitability. I mean, we've got classes, every week on Matrix that really do a deep dive and can give you, all the information that you need.
Okay, and I'm sure we can also share a link to our YouTube channel. I know there's dozens of tutorial videos that have been created by HAR staff there as well that you could utilize, Andrea.
Yeah, that's a great resource. It's got some short videos, so 2 to 3 minutes, quick tips, quick tricks. So, I definitely rely on that. Or, and Nathan Goebel, he did a great job a few months ago on here talking about, some of his favorite Matrix tricks. So I thought that was a good session.
Excellent. Thank you, Shawn. Well, it looks like we've answered most of the questions that have come in. Actually, as soon as I said that, one more. Any updates on AI that we should know about in regard to Matrix?
Well, yes. Interestingly, our technology department is working on a tool to help write property descriptions. So we're looking to partner with a third party to do some image recognition. So we'll be able to, develop some tags based on the images you upload, and use those tags in some of the prompts to create these property descriptions and potentially photo descriptions as well. So that's something we've made progress on, and I'd look in the next couple of months that we'll be releasing that to members again to help tag photos and do property descriptions.
Okay. Very good, and thank you for that question. Well, Shawn, it looks like we've answered everything. And are there any additional thoughts or anything you want to share with our members as we end today's session?
No, I think we've covered a lot. I just encourage you to hit that feedback button. I mean, the way we make the system better is through your input. I mean, it's our subscribers that are using the system every day. They know it. They know what they need, and we want to listen and be responsive. As you mentioned earlier, we work with a vendor. There's some things that are easier to change than others, but we certainly review every submission, and it goes to the advisory group, and we do implement those. So please submit your feedback.
Excellent. Well, again, Shawn, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate you taking time for us every once in a while. So, and again, we've got some thank you Shawns coming in the comments. So we definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, Christina.
Absolutely. Well, that is it for this Member Focus Monday. We are actually taking a little summer hiatus. We will be gone the next 2 Mondays, but we will be back on July 10th, Monday, July 10th at 9 a.m. So mark your calendar. We will see you then. Again, Shawn, thank you for your time today. Our members appreciate it. And thank you for sharing where they can get in touch with your team if they have additional questions after today. All right, that is it for this Member Focus Monday. We'll see you next time. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.